This question has been a constant question that I have been asked year after year after year. Typically because you guys have seen me move around a lot, especially more so if you follow me on Instagram. But of course, I share like personal life updates on the podcast too. I've moved around so much. I have openly shared that majority, 99% of my adult friends I did not make at school. You know, working for myself, working from home, all those things can feel like barriers to making friendships, specifically adult friendships. And we're not just looking for any friends. I'm not just looking for a friend that I can like gossip with over tea because I don't want to just gossip about shit that's meaningless over a cup of tea, or more so a cocktail when I would like to have a cup of tea. I want friends that are soul aligned friends. We don't need to go to like crystal ceremonies together. I'm not looking for that either. We don't need to be able to go to breathwork ceremonies together or anything like that. But I do want friends that are not necessarily into the work, quote unquote. I want friends that just can have deep conversations, that are growth orientated, that care about the same things that I care about. And I know you do too. That's why I was like, we're sitting down, we're doing this episode. The last time I did this episode, if I am not mistaken, I actually did this episode. I don't know whether I wrote up my notes for this episode or I did an Instagram story and I said I was going to do this episode in the car when I was about to ski Vale. And this was before I met Hal. This is when I was getting my ass from London during the lockdowns back to New York. And I went through Mexico. I lived in Tulum for 2 months. And then I went skiing in Denver. Not in Denver. I went skiing in Colorado, flew to Denver, and then I was going back to New York. So I don't know. Actually, I don't remember if I did the podcast potentially in the car, because back when I was doing the podcast at this day and age, people didn't care about video, which was actually really nice. But now people care about video. Speaking of which, you can watch all the podcast episodes on YouTube. I actually now love watching podcast episodes, like putting it on in the living room instead of just watching trash on TV. So anyway, nonetheless, it's been a long time since I did an episode about how I have made adult friends. So I'm going to go through like different like evolutions, if you will. And my evolution number one, or not even my evolution number one, I would say my practice in making adult friendships was really about putting myself out there. And a lot of those adult friendships didn't last. Like, for example, the last episode that I recorded where we were semi-talking about this or fully talking about this, I was skiing, I was by myself, and this was 2021 before I'd gotten back to New York from London, like I just shared. And when I say I was making friends, I truly was just making friends with people that I vibe with on chairlifts. And then we might, go out for dinner or hang out that weekend or ski together the next day. But there was still an element of friendship being made. Do I know them now? No. Do I remember their names or even what they look like now? Absolutely not. So the friendship didn't last because it wasn't aligned. But what was beautiful about it is that I was learning to just talk to adults, make friends, and put the effort in. And that has definitely paid off now. And so if you're thinking to yourself, I am trying so hard, I'm putting the effort in, or maybe you're not putting the effort in, I'm going to show you how to put the effort in today's episode. I'll tell you how. It takes time, and it takes not even just practice. I would say that it takes consistency in your embodiment, and also like showing the universe that you're serious about making adult friendships and not hanging on to friendships that are clearly not serving you. Now, a friendship is not serving you if the two of you are different. The two of you can be different and the friendship can absolutely be serving you. If you haven't listened to the podcast episode, The Dark Side of Personal Development of mine, can I please recommend that you go and do so that you can potentially be aware of behavior that actually isn't serving you. But personal development these days can make you become kind of self-important and unfortunately get looped in with this spiritual enlightenment language and this enlightenment of I'm better than you because I've done the work. We need to drop that right now, okay? You are embodied in the work when you can practice the art of unconditional love and the embodiment of unconditional love, which means that you nowhere in your system do you think that you are better or above somebody else because you've done the work and healed your trauma. Like that is not shit that we embody over here at Monica Yates Health. So during this time, I was just making friends for the sake of making friends, not in a transactional kind of sense, but I wasn't, I was more focused on making friends than I was soul aligned friendships. So fast forward a little bit more, I'm living in New York now. And you guys, some of you might have heard this on the podcast before. I have made friends because all it is about effort with the guy that I meet on the corner of the street because our dogs say hello. Now, I actually don't even remember that guy's name, which is like so tragic, but I think that, you know, as you just go on in life, it's like you remember what's important. Maybe this is also to do with just motherhood and your brain really focuses on what's important. Maybe I do remember his name. I'm thinking of it now. And if that's correct, then maybe that isn't. Anyway, my point is that we became friends, not good friends, not soul aligned friends. It was just more like New York social friends, I would say. We became friends whilst I was living there. And then, you know, as it did for many people, COVID, the waves of COVID, how people reacted during that time and judged, it became clear to me people that actually respected me and those that didn't respect me, and people that could hold multiple truths at once, and people that thought that they were more right than other people. So that friendship didn't last, but nonetheless, I made the effort. And so as an example, our dogs meet on the corner, and instead of just being like, huh, and just smiling, I actually was like, hi, I'm Monica. And I put a little bit of effort in. I'm not clinging on to him or something, or like not reading the cues. You got to read the cues, people, when you're trying to make friends. And that was that. And actually on that, when we kind of had that, you know, meet cute interaction, whatever you want to call it, he then invited me to go for a walk with him tomorrow morning, that he was going to take his dog with another friend. They were going to go to the dog park. And I was like, yeah, I would love to join you. And what did I do? I joined him. Now, do I enjoy getting up at that time of the morning to walk my dog before other people have to go to their office jobs? No. But did I want to make friends as I was freshly back in New York, and a lot of my friends that I had made there previously had left during COVID? Yeah, I wanted to make friends. So I put the effort in, and I went and I walked with them. And one thing led to another, and we became friends. And then he introduced me to other friends. Okay. So that's one example. Another example that I've shared with you guys before, two of my really good girlfriends now, we met in the dog park in New York. And again, now the theme is not dogs, although I will say I have made a lot of friends from dogs. So if you don't have a dog and you really want to make friends, a dog could be very helpful. But nonetheless, again, I met those two beautiful women that are now really good friends of mine in the dog park. And now I could have just had the conversation in the dog park, and when they invited me to have rosé on the rooftop, just been like, yeah, and thought, oh, they're not actually being serious. They don't actually mean that. They're just being nice. Notice how some of you even might do that when you are interacting with friends or a potential lover, where you basically step into this, oh, they don't actually want to be friends with me. They don't actually want to have rosé with me. They're just being polite. People wouldn't actually want to be friends with me. Of course, people want to be fucking friends with you. Do you want to be friends with you? Let's all just stop there. Do you want to be friends with you? If you don't, you need to clean that up. You need to want to be friends with you. And I am that friend that follows through. And that was actually something that was very odd to me when I moved to the South, because now I live in Atlanta, when, you know, my husband would explain to me that, oh, when people say here, like, oh, we'd love to catch up for coffee, they don't actually mean it. And of course, there are people here that actually mean it, but there are many people here that don't actually mean it. And it's this like intense Southern politeness and people pleasing that is definitely prominent and deeply ingrained in the culture down here. And that to me, I was just like, what? Like, I'm not going to say that I'm going to have coffee with you if I don't actually mean it. And like, why would you say that if you don't actually mean that with me? So that was a bit of an adjustment, but I'm that friend that when I say X, Y, and Z, we're going to do it. We're going to make that happen. And so they invited me for a rosé. And so guess what? Your girl followed up on the rosé. I took their numbers and I texted them. I can't remember the exact interaction, but it might've been that they texted me like, would love to have rosé with you sometime. And instead of just being like, yeah, that would be great, and that's it, I would love to just Thursday work. We're making plans, people. We're putting shit in. Remember this. The reason why it feels hard to make friends as an adult is because it is hard. Because we're not at school or at college or whatever, or university, and seeing your friends every day because you all have to go to university or you all have to go to school. Also, if you work for yourself, it's hard because you're not seeing your friends every day in the office, right? So a lot of effort has to go in even when you're tired, even when you think, oh, I can't be bothered. Yeah, me too. Sometimes I can't be bothered, but the effort has to go into things. So we had Rosé. Beautiful. One thing's led to another. We're really great friends. They were at my wedding. I was at their wedding. Beautiful. And so the list goes on of kind of how I've made friends. One of my really, really, really good friends here in Atlanta, I've talked about her before. She started, well, I guess she still is. She is/was my hairstylist. And we just kind of kicked it off in the chair. We were just talking about things. We were super aligned with a lot of things in regards to like masculine and feminine and like men leading and just like women and all the things, right? And we're just chatting, chatting, chatting. And I literally said to her, "Do you want to be friends?" And she was like, "Yes, I would love to be friends." Now, it actually took us a long time because we're both so busy to get dinner on the calendar, but we got dinner on the calendar eventually. We made it happen. I followed through. We had dinner and things continued to grow and expand. Now, there is, of course, going to be the women that you meet, the friends that you make or you try to make, where you're putting in the effort and they're not, and it feels very one-sided. Here's the thing. There are different seasons of life, and I believe different seasons of friendships, where one person sometimes has to put more effort into the friendship than the other. Let's use that example of one of your friends just became a mum. You, my dear, need to put more effort in than she probably is because she has way more things on her mind right now. She's a little bit overwhelmed. Her nervous system is like calibrating to this new way of life and all the things. So you need to put the effort in. That doesn't mean let's go out for dinner here and then following up and you're not putting pressure on her in that way. It's the check-ins. It's the thinking of you. Like that can go such a long way. I have majority of my friends I don't get to see in person very often, especially leaving New York, leaving Australia. I don't see my friends very often like that live outside of Atlanta. But that's okay because it's the check-in text. I do this when I think of a friend, I just literally text her, "I'm thinking of you." Do you know how far that goes? And when they do the same for me of just like, "Hey honey, you're on my mind, thinking of you, sending you love." I'm not that friend that needs the like constant communication. Actually, just I don't have time for it, to be really frank. I spend all day on my phone, all day online, all day staring at a screen and speaking to people, not necessarily my clients, more so my team even. And when it gets to the end of the day, I'm like, I don't really want to then have to speak to like 50 friends at the end of the day. And for me, and this is something that I want to say to you guys, I know what I value in a friendship. So you don't need to have people exactly like you. You need people with aligned values and that respect you. My best friends are not coaches. In terms of my best friends, I have one best friend that is in the coaching space. The rest are not in the coaching space. I have best friends that are in like biotech, marketing, development. Like I don't even know. Like they have those jobs where I'm like, you've told me like 100 times what you do and I still don't fully understand what you do. I have friends everywhere in terms of like what they do, where they work, etc. Like one of my really good friends here in Atlanta, she does like all the logistics for a designer in terms of like the FedEx and like when packages go missing, all those shipment logistics. She does that for the whole world, if I'm not mistaken. That's her job. Do you know how different that is to coaching? I think we would all probably know how different that is to coaching. Okay, my skincare. The skincare that I use, there's a whole blog post of exactly what I do and my whole breakdown of skincare, makeup, morning routine, nighttime routine, etc. But I do want to sing this brand some praises because whilst I have never struggled with really cystic acne, which is what they started the brand to help women with, I have been using this now for, I would say about 2 years, maybe a little bit longer, and it's called Clearstem. Clearstem is the brand name. I love their stuff. It is focused on non-pore clogging ingredients whilst also being anti-aging. And of course it is non-toxic, no hormone disruptors. You don't need to worry about that. It's me. The products that I use all 3 of their serums. I do love their under eye ointment cream. I'm not a skin influencer, so I don't know the correct names right now. I do love they're both their moisturizers. So I use their heavy moisturizer. I think it's called Hydraberry. It's in like the pinkish bottle. I use their heavy moisturizer in winter when I'm skiing, especially, and on planes, and just when my skin feels a bit drier than usual. Love it. I love a thick moisturizer. Then I use their, I can't remember, but it's the everyday one. It's a bit thinner. It's in like a purple bottle, or it's got purple on the label, although they have done a rebrand, so that could have changed by now. But nonetheless, if you go to my blog and you search skincare, you'll be able to see what I use. It's also on my favorite products page, what I use from Clearstem, so you'll be able to see that. I just love it. I love it, and I have noticed a difference in my skin. I am someone that runs very red, and I've actually noticed that in my face since using their stuff, that my face isn't so, let's say it like this, my complexion is even now with no makeup, and my skin is less congested, and I definitely do not get any more odd pimple here or there. Like, it's not a thing, but it definitely has changed my skin. And I've had other friends that I've gotten them onto it who have perfect skin, and their skin has gotten more perfect. So whether you are struggling with acne or any kind of breakouts, or you just want your skin to look even better because we get to have things being better and better, get onto Clearstem. My code for that is Monica Yates, and that's going to give you a 20% discount. But I don't need friends that are like me. Maybe you do. Maybe you really just find that you vibe with people that are in a similar industry. Great. Can you honor that for yourself? But what I want to say is go a step further. What you value is more important. All of my friends and I value the same thing. The number one thing that all of my friends value and that I cannot go without is growth. I can't have friendships with people that are not wanting to grow, be their best self, that have ambition, that want to create this amazing life for themselves. No, like, I have absolutely no shade on the people that don't want that, but I just can't be friends with those sorts of women because we don't align. It just feels sticky and challenging and hard in conversations. And so also, if things feel sticky and hard and challenging in conversations all the time, and you are exhausted when you leave them, and you're thinking like, is this a soul aligned friendship? It's probably not. So how you leave an interaction with the person, also notice that. How do you leave? Do you feel good when you leave the interaction? Do you feel expanded and elevated and high vibe? Or do you feel drained and exhausted and like heavy in the head, and really heavy behind your eyes? You obviously want to feel, when we're talking about like our best friends and our girlfriends, you want to feel like your best self when you're with them. You want to feel high on life when you're with them, because you want your girlfriends to be the woman that you, like the women that you can reach out to when times are tough. We are all, as women, craving a village. We are craving sisterhood. We are craving support. I don't think we've ever had a time in history where we've craved this so much, to be honest. This is why my year-long mastermind program, Her Year, popped off when we launched it end of last year, beginning of this year. We are launching it again for 2026. FYI, if you're not already on the waitlist, you're going to want to be. The number one thing that people love about Her Year, it's not the monthly masterclasses. It's not the podcast, like the private podcast episodes that I drop answering questions that they left in the threads. Like, we do Q&As multiple times, once a week, multiple times a month. It's not even that. It's not all the nuggets that they get. It's literally the community. We have 2 events each year, 2 in-person days. They're community events. And the last one that we had, we're doing another one in London this year in December. The last one that and so next year you guys will have the same. You'll have 2 as well if you join. The last one that we did in Atlanta at our house, women wanted more. So we are adding more on, and we're cultivating this like whole dinner experience for them, because they really wanted like a dinner after the event day. So we're organizing that for them in London, because I have goosebumps. There is nothing as expansive as having women that get you, that light you up, that feel like it is safe to be seen in your most authentic self. Like, truly, I cannot even express how important it is. I have really put the effort in this year, and I'm putting, now that I've had Trip, I feel like I have so much more energy, because I didn't love being pregnant. And it was challenging navigating pregnancy, work, all the things, and a book launch. It was a lot. And now that Trip has been born and he's here, I'm really prioritizing networking and in-person experiences. So when I tell you I have locked in I already have for this year 2 business, like for the rest of this year, I have 2, actually one in September, one in October of in-person experiences with other like-minded women. And again, you don't need to be best friends with women that do the same thing as you, but it also can be an extremely motivating, in a good way, stimulating for your brain and inspiring environment to put yourself in. Think about it like this. Sometimes we need to be in a certain environment or around certain people or having certain conversations in order to spark downloads, the inspired ideas, and just the ideas that wouldn't have otherwise been sparked if you were not in that room. Because very often we need a certain energy for our body to feel to then get those ideas. How many of you get more ideas and feel more creative and more inspired when you're traveling? It's because you've changed your environment. And sometimes we have to change our external environment to change our internal environment. So the reason why I'm going to these events is not because I have 1,000 more hours to invest in friendships. It's because I also know the value that I get just from community, just from feeling normal in a space, just from feeling, almost from feeling like the small fish in a big pond. Is that the right way to say it? Being in a room where there are women that are more successful than me, or not even more successful than me, but doing things differently than me, very inspiring. It is good to be challenged and to think differently, which is actually why I think that it can be really detrimental when you have friends that are all the same as you and all kind of in the same bubble, because it just, you basically, like, they continue to fulfill a self-fulfilling prophecy, if that makes sense. And so you're not challenged. Your brain isn't forced to expand and to think differently, to think more openly. Being challenged is a good thing. So one of the rooms that I'm getting myself into in September, the majority of the women in that room are actually not coaches. And last year when I went to this summit, the women that were speaking, like one of them was a like big financial VP. Is that the right way to, big financial woman, basically all about like investing and building capital and getting capital and all of that. And like half that shit really does go over my head. But it's not that I was like, oh my God, there's all these nuggets. Yes, yes, yes. It's literally these moments where listening to other women doing things differently or that have had challenges that they've moved through, it just can inspire something within you. And this isn't just for women that run their own businesses. It could inspire something in your relationship. It could inspire something in your health. It could inspire something in just literally your mindset about life. So if you haven't already made sure that for this year, for next year, that you are going to commit to getting in rooms, if you want to meet other like-minded women, get in rooms. That was one of the big things women said after the Her Year event this year, of how nice it was to talk to other women where I could say like, oh, I love, my amethyst crystal. I'm just going to use that as an example. And they're not like, what the fuck, you're so weird. They get it. They're like, that's amazing, right? I love my amethyst crystal too. Or maybe they don't love their amethyst crystal, but because they're in this space and they're at the same emotional vibration as you, they don't make you feel weird and judged for loving your amethyst crystal. They can respect you for that versus somebody else that you might say that to. They're like, what the fuck are you on? Like, are you some like witchy woo woo? And that can make you feel really judged. Of course, do not forget that when you are feeling judged by someone else, you're really just judging yourself. So something else to be thinking about as you are going out, and I still am going to give you the tips of like how to find these people, and more tips than just get in the room and go to events. So hang on for that. But another thing that I want you to think about that's going to help influence the answer to that in a little bit for yourself is, what season of life do they need to be in? And like, what do you want to be able to do together? So for me, now it feels important to invest in friendships where the women are mothers, because it's just different. And you know what? Not even just that are mothers, but that get being a mother. So, it's become clear to me, the women, and again, no judgment, I'm not talking about anyone in particular, but it's become clear to me friendships and then like acquaintances that like I can't really move to friends, if you will, that either are not mothers, this is acquaintances that I can't move to friends, that are not mothers, or they don't have enough women in their lives that are mothers, so they just don't get it. Versus my friends that are not mothers or are not yet mothers, but their sisters are mothers, or they have other friendships in their lives that are mothers, and they just understand more so in the sense of like, if a mum says, can you come to the house at 4 for tea? Like, let's do 4 o'clock. You don't arrive at 4:30 or 4:15. And you wouldn't really do this even if you weren't going to see a mother, but like especially for a mother, because you know that she has scheduled her whole day and nap time and feed time and all the things as best as she can so that she can be hands-free and available and have a happy baby that's either happy or asleep at 4 o'clock. So you aren't late because you know that's actually really stressful for her because like routine is now everything with this child and she really just wants to be able to hang out with her girlfriend. That would be like an example, right? So it's not that I have to now have friends that are in the season of motherhood, but friends that at least fully understand that to an extent. And so show up in a way to support me in my new season of motherhood. Okay. So what season of life do you need your friends to be in? And what do you want to be able to do together? Do you want to be able to go clubbing together, or do you want to be able to go on morning walks and bake together on the weekends and have dinner parties? Like, what would things actually look like for you? Because you're then not, if you want to have dinner parties and go on, walks with your girlfriends, with your kids, you're then not going to probably invest a ton in the girl that you met clubbing that is still in her clubbing era, because like obviously things are just not going to work and it's going to come to a crossroad and things are going to feel like they're butting heads. Now, obviously this is a generalization. One of my best friends, she lives in New York and she still likes to go out clubbing. She's single. She's living her best life. She doesn't have any kids, and amazing, right? That's great. It doesn't mean that you can't. I'm just saying if you are out there looking for new aligned friendships, you're probably not going to align with someone that's in a completely different phase of their life. And on that note, let's also remove any shame or judgment towards the friends of yours that maybe are in a different season of life that have kind of slipped away, because they may come back. Ladies, if you are not already on the Her Year waitlist for 2026, like you just don't want to miss out on this. I feel like Her Year 2025 was truly a teaser. And I say that with like kind of a smirk because this program was better than I even planned for it to be. And everybody in this program, everybody's expectations was just wildly exceeded, including myself. Very proud to say the plan that we have for next year will blow your mind. So now that I know what I'm doing next year for this program in 2026, I'm like, oh, 2025 was like the beginning. It was the teaser. So if you're the kind of woman who's ready to stop talking about her next level and actually fully live it and embody it, Her Year is where that happens. And of course, if you're not sure it's for you, read the website page. A few really key things is it is a 12-month mastermind-like style program where we're really centered around the conversation of what it looks like to fully embody feminine leadership. And it's not just for business owners. It's for women who are leading in any area of life. Maybe you have a career, maybe you don't, but you find that you are leading, whether it's in love, whether it's in the family, whether it's in motherhood, health, your career, and you want to do it in a feminine way. You want to reduce that mental load. You don't want to be burnt out anymore. And you just want to get to the next level of everything in life. And if you look at the 12-month plan, you will see that every month we talk about a different thing. And I give you guys a different masterclass. It is an action-based program. If you do not want to take action, if you do not want to be told what to do, and then all you have to do is do it, then this is not the program for you. Okay. The waitlist is where you will get early access. You will get bonuses. You'll get first dibs when the doors open. You do not want to not be on this waitlist, especially if you've been feeling the pull. Just trust it. Join Her Year next year. Plan to do it. Add yourself to the waitlist, and let's make 2026 the year that you actually become her. You may have friends where they are, not putting the effort in right now to the friendship. Maybe they're not fully friends yet. They're not putting effort into the friendship. It doesn't seem like it's a priority, or they're in their clubbing days or whatever. Let it be. Let it be. You don't need to be a bitch about it. You don't need to like say anything about it per se. Just let it be. Okay. Let nature run its course, because they could come back into your life a year later. Now they're a mother or something, or pregnant or whatever, and they're out of their clubbing days. And now the two of you are so aligned. I've had that happen, of like friends kind of going and then them coming back. Or like one of my really good friends in Sydney, we've been best friends since we were in grade 5. And obviously not living in Australia makes it, a little bit harder to like constantly talk. And so we talked we talked less for a number of years. We were still there. She was still in my mind. We were still supporting each other. The friendship was there without us needing to talk all the time. And that's the kind of friendships that for me, I really value. So like that's important when I'm making aligned friendships as an adult. And then when she fell pregnant, and it was more the wedding. When we then started planning the wedding, then things picked up a lot more in just how much we were conversing. And then when I fell pregnant, she'd already had her baby, or no, she was at the end of her pregnancy when I was at the beginning of my pregnancy. And now that we both have kids, we've traveled to Europe together, as some of you would have saw on our recent Europe trip. We talk a lot more because we are both in the same season of life. And that can happen, and that's okay as well. So hopefully this is helping everyone, okay? The next thing, let's really get into this. You cannot manifest aligned friendships from your fucking living room. If you are not willing to get off your ass and put the effort in, then I honestly, I can't help you. So we've fallen into this trap as a society these days of being so used to getting things so quickly that we don't want to put any effort in. It's the same in romantic relationships. As soon as things are hard, so many people are just like, I can't anymore. And the I can't is not just from a trauma response of like avoidance. Potentially the I can't is also this awareness of there's just someone else right there. All I have to do is get on an app, swipe, swipe, swipe. There's somebody else already at my door. It's this like over convenience that's causing us as a society to not put effort into important things. I mean, we can get a filet mignon fully cooked, absolutely perfectly at our front door within 35 minutes. So the laziness that we are all tapping into is also because of the over convenience of everything in life. Start putting effort into things. When things get hard, you don't give up. You keep going. This is a pattern that a lot of young people are falling into. As soon as things get overwhelming, as soon as things get hard, as soon as like, oh, my nervous system is dysregulated, the answer is just do less, pull back. Everyone needs to leave. Everything's too much. Convenience, convenience, convenience. Instead of actually realizing that sometimes life is a lot. Sometimes it's a lot of work that you have to put into your relationships when you have all this other shit going on in your life. And that is called the human experience. So if you are not willing to get off your ass and go and make friends, then you actually don't want aligned friendships badly enough. And you're also probably not listening to this episode, to be frank. You're probably watching Netflix. So how do I make friends? Where are my aligned friends? Where are they? Okay. So firstly, if you've identified what you want to do with your friend, like your potential friend, and the kind of values that they have, that's going to already help you narrow down on where they are. So, and look, I want to say this to someone that's also like met friends in a dog park and and like my best friend was my hairstylist, right? Like those things also definitely were a manifestation. And so make sure that you're also just manifesting daily your aligned friendship so that your reticular activating system can see them. If you are feeling like, okay, I've been doing that for years, hang with me. I'm going to give you something in a second. But if you also wanted to put the effort in at potentially actually making friends, then, I mean, I put effort in by going to the dog park and talking to the people at the dog park. That's one. I put the effort in by on the chairlifts when I ski, talking to the people. I mean, I wouldn't have met my husband, ladies and gentlemen, if I had not gotten my nervous system used to talking to strangers and putting effort in on the 10-minute chairlift, I would not have met my husband because my nervous system at that point and my reticular activating system and my body would have been like, this is weird. Why is a stranger talking to me? If you think that sometimes when a random stranger, whether it's an ugly guy or a guy that you think is ugly or whoever you think it is, if you think it's weird when people talk to you, if your brain immediately goes like, why is she talking to me? Or why is he talking to me? You need to fix that first. You need to practice having conversations and being able to just converse with strangers. For example, when I was like 9 months pregnant, I was in Whole Foods and these two older women, they came up to me behind in the like checkout line, and they were like just like talking to me and like oohing all over me and like blah blah blah. And I could have just been like, oh, thanks, like fuck off. But I wasn't. Right now, obviously you sometimes can be because like you're in a mood or whatever. Like that's totally allowed. You're a human. But I wasn't, because I need to be able to practice being able to receive love and friendship and admiration and all of those sorts of things. So I'm conversing with the 60-year-old women in Whole Foods because that is practice for when the other random guy on the chairlift, and obviously the chairlift was well before me being pregnant, I need to also be able to get used to conversing with random strangers. So when the guy on the chairlift starts talking to me, I don't shut the conversation down. My body language is open. My language is inviting. My tone of voice is inviting, all of those things. Okay. So just keep that in mind, ladies. So if you want to be able to go to Pilates classes with your friend, or even just that she's into Pilates because you really value that and you want a friend that you can be able to go to Pilates classes with, then you should start going to Pilates classes, okay? And not doing them at home. Not every day, but you should try out, as an example, you would go to different classes on different days, different times of the day for maybe a month to figure out, okay, what is the typical kind of woman in these different classes, in these, on these different days of the week at the different times of the day. If you're going in the middle of the day, you're probably more likely to have more mums in the class. And if you are not in your mum era, then you'll be like, okay, I shouldn't go in the middle of the day, even if you work from home. You would then go in the morning or in the evening. Now, if you really cared though about being able to have friends that also work from home or work for themselves, you could go in the middle of the day because you're more likely to then meet that person that works from home, that takes, 2 hours off in the middle of the day or whatever. I mean, I don't, but some people do, to go to a Pilates class. But if you want to meet people maybe your own age, or they're working or they're go-getters or whatever, they're probably in the 6 a.m. class. Because if you want someone that's like killing it in their career or they're working really hard, they're probably in the 6 a.m. class because they're getting to the office by 8:30, right? Or they're in the evening class because they don't have to make kids dinner and do bath time and all of that. And maybe they're single and you're single, and so they don't have to go home to their husbands or their partner. So they're going to a Pilates class at 8 p.m. So you're going to that Pilates class at 8 p.m. But you're going to try out all these different classes until you kind of figure out, okay, which class has my kind of woman in it? Then you are going to go to that same class over and over and over at the same time, same day, every week. And you're going to start to see familiar faces. And once you've seen that familiar face like 3 times, you're going to go up to her and say, hey, I've seen you in this class a lot. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Monica. And she's going to introduce herself as Lucy. And you're going to ask her, where do you live? Or what do you love about Pilates? You're not going to ask her, what do you do for work? You're not going to start off with that question. You're going to ask her something a little bit different that's actually going to catch her attention. Okay. And then class is probably going to start. So you're going to go into class and you're going to say, enjoy class, like whatever. And at the end of the class, you're just probably going to have like a quick, like, oh my God, my leg nearly fell off in that class. Like, holy shit, I'm going to be sore tomorrow. She might say something and you're going to say, have a good night, and you're going to go home. The next week, you're going to see her again. Hey, Lucy, how are you? How was your day at work? And there's building that's happening. Then the next week, the third week, you're going to see her. How'd that presentation go at work? Or like, how's your dog? Is he still sick? She's realizing you're remembering things. You're seeming like a person that cares about other people because you are. Now you're actually having like bigger conversations and more heartfelt conversations before class starts, that you say, do you want to get coffee one time? I feel like we have so much that we could be talking about. And boom, you're getting coffee. And now a beautiful friendship has started, all because you've put the effort in for yourself. And then you also put the effort in to her. Okay, so for those of you that are like, this is all fucking dandy, Monica, but I have been trying to make friends in this city for 2 years to no avail. I lived in Atlanta, when did I meet Mariah? 2024, I met her. And so I lived here middle of 2022 or towards the end of 2022, like August, I moved here. So that year, all of 2021, and I really became friends with, I'm just using my hairstylist as an example, middle of 2024. So not long ago, like a year ago, probably. Yeah, just over a year ago. Okay. And so when I moved here, I had to be extremely patient with making friends. Kind of the same as New York. I didn't make them, yes, I made friends with the guy on the side of the street and whatever, but it takes time to build friendships, okay? And to kind of trial and error with different people where it's like, nah, like next, that kind of thing, okay? So I was living here for a solid 2 years. Yep, that's right, 2 years before I actually really met a friend where I was like, oh my God, we can talk for 4 hours and I'm not exhausted after it. Or we can just lose track of time and talk and talk and talk and talk. And they're the kind of friendships that I like. I was going out on walks with friends of my husband's and like girlfriends of theirs, you know what I'm trying to say, and trying to make the effort, but it didn't click. And part of it, frankly, was because they were Hal's friends first. And I really wanted to make my girlfriends. And the ladies listening to this, like, you get it. You want to make your friends that are completely separate to your husband, where you can like feel totally good about being your full authentic self, having a little bitch about your husband if you need to, whatever it is, having a little complaint, and you fully trust them because their loyalty lies with you first before your husband. We all know what I'm talking about. I'm being fucking real. I'm not going to be that chick that's like, oh no, I'm just like, the perfect, like, what do the people do? Basically, it's like, oh, I never need to, sometimes complain about my husband. Like, we all sometimes need to complain about people in our lives. So I was putting the effort in to trying to make these friends work, but I knew deep down, it's not clicking. It's not there. So what I didn't do was throw the towel in or keep forcing something that I knew wasn't the aligned, easy friendships that I had had elsewhere. I was patient and patient and patient. And Hal would, go out for a walk with so-and-so, like go and do this with so-and-so. And I was like, I've got my New York friends. I'm going to go to New York for the weekend. I would fly to New York for the weekend. I would see my friends in New York and I would get my social cup filled and I would come home. And I'm not that person that needs a lot of friends. I am very much quality over quantity. I would always joke with Hal, like, I only need 2 friends in Atlanta. So if one's sick, I can hang out with the other one. Like, and I literally have 2 right now of like really good friends that I've had for a long time. I met another mom just before I gave birth and we hit it off immediately. So we are building that friendship. And again, haven't seen her a number of months because we were traveling, she was traveling, we're both busy. And she's like, I'm so sorry, blah, blah. I'm like, I am the last person you need to say sorry with. We will see each other when we see each other. Like, I am that friend, right? Anyway, and so yeah, he'd be like, go out with so-and-so, like go do this. And I would try. And I got to the point where I was like, I don't need to hang out with women for the sake of like, I have friends or I hung out with so-and-so or like I did something social today. I was very happy filling up my cup every 2 weeks and going to New York on the weekend. So I was patient in Atlanta and I knew that I would eventually meet people, but I was very specific about who I wanted in a friendship. And I found that it was harder to find living here than living in New York. Living in New York, majority of, the people that, not majority, but like there's a big group of women that are ambitious and go-getters and achieving and, just like in the kind of space that when I say space, I don't mean coaching industry, in the kind of space of where I am in. And again, what I value, I love working hard, I love achieving, and I love friends that also are the same in that regard. And I really like friends that are not jealous of any of my achievements, but very much cheer me on and I cheer them on. Like there is absolute zero competition because we're all aligned in like how successful we want to be in terms of career and work. Anyway, and so if you are not being patient, can I please urge you to be patient? This did not happen overnight, ladies. It really didn't. And then let me share you this as well. Like when I talk about effort. So I became good friends with Mariah here, like honestly, like a few months before the wedding. And Hal had met her husband maybe 1 or 2 times. They hit it off. We invited them to our wedding. And I texted her being like, hey, I know this is so random because we barely know each other, but I just feel like we're going to be friends forever. It's what I said. I know we're going to be friends forever. It just feels like we are like already soul sisters after only hanging out like 4 times. Totally fine if you can't come or if you think it's fucking weird. Would you like to come to our wedding? And long story short, they actually took more time off work that I think was then unpaid because they used all their days off because they, like us, were like, we're coming because we want to put effort into this friendship because we feel the same way. And we've developed this beautiful friendship. They come to our house often on a Sunday morning for brunch, or we go to theirs. And it's just become this beautiful relationship, all because we put the effort in and they put now it's like a more of a couple's friendship, right? But I put the effort in with Mariah. She puts the effort in with me. And then like as a couple, we both put the effort in, right? But truly, I just want everyone to know as an adult, it takes effort, 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 effort. But keep putting it in because you will get there. Okay, this was literally like a fucking masterclass on how to make friends as an adult. I feel like we need to this episode needs to be titled like how to make friends as an adult, a masterclass, because truly it is. Please share this on your socials so that other women can also just feel validated. And that's really fucking hard sometimes, especially with the cattiness and the jealousy and just like women stabbing each other behind the back and the sisterhood wounding. It's all so, so, so real. And if you do experience a lot of sisterhood wounding or fear around making friendships with other women, because the fear around other women ripping you down is real, or, you know, being bitter because of jealousy and tearing you down and just like feeling like you're not fully supported or respected. It's a real, real wound and a real fear. And a lot of it comes from sisterhood wounding and shit that's happened in the past. So if that is your experience, it's another reason that you need to join Queen Alchemy, because one of the many trauma calls is actually for sisterhood wounding. And again, if you want to get in the room, if you're like, okay, I want to, you know, be at that her year event, I want to meet aligned women that I can have conversations with where they just get it, you need to do Queen Alchemy or the immersion or her year, or even come to my London book launch party. I have a past client and and actually her name's Karen, and you know when I refer to Karens on the podcast, then I'm like, but I'm not talking about you, Karen. Like, she knows who she is. This is actually Karen, and she was sharing with me when she was at the her year event, how in April, one of her best friends, she met through Queen Alchemy. They're both coming to the immersion together this year. She met through Queen Alchemy, and she has become one of her absolute best friends because she feels so seen, so safe, and not because they're the same person, but because they've both, like, she has that safety of knowing that like there is unconditional love in this friendship because the other woman has done the work. And that's the really beautiful thing about my containers like Queen Alchemy. All the women in there, they all want the same thing. They don't want to be stabbed in the back. They want unconditional love. So everybody's getting it because they also want it, because like we're sharing the same wounds, if that makes sense. Like, you often don't trigger or don't dig into the wounds that of other people that you also have. The book parties that I've been doing, the London book party that we have, we are starting that. So actually when this goes out, if you're like, wait, London book party, it is invitation only. And then if we have spaces left, because we are making it like intimate, sexy vibes, if we do have spaces left, we will then put that out. So if you're like, wait, I want to come to the London book event, just email Olivia at Monarchy Eats Health. Actually, no, email Amanda. Email Amanda at monarchyeatshealth.com, and she will make sure that she has your name down so that we will email you if a ticket becomes available for one of those, like if you live in London or in Europe. But even that, like when we did the New York book party, it was so beautiful to see past clients come, or women that weren't even past clients but followed me, and seeing them talk with other women that follow me or that are past clients of mine. And you have that safety of knowing I'm not going to be stabbed in the back because they are doing the work or they listen to my content. And so you know that there is like an alignment with how you're all thinking, but you don't need to be the same. So get in the room, make it a commitment to yourself over the next year, the next 2 years. I mean, look at me. It took me 2 years to make new friends in Atlanta. Oh, to make friends in Atlanta, full stop. To get in the room and put the effort in.